Let's be real, we don't like doom scrolling on LinkedIn. It's so boring, disgusting, right? If I wanted endless dopamine hits, I would be on Instagram Reels, watching someone flip pancakes or watching relatable reels about relationships with cute cats as actors, right? But here's the problem, LinkedIn isn't all that bad. Somewhere in all those corporate stuff, there are gems. Posts about hiring, AI breakthroughs, robotics, or stuff that's actually useful. So instead of wasting my time endlessly scrolling, I built a bot because why doom scroll yourself on LinkedIn when you can automate that pain? I'd rather be wasting hours of my time on IG Reels, right? So my bot uses Python Llama model and also Ollama and runs completely free on your local machine. No subscription, no server cost, no API credits, just pure LinkedIn doom scrolling brilliance. So it doesn't just scroll, it's smart. It uses a large language model to figure out if a post is about hiring or something informative, AI or robotics related, and then saves it for you. And you can see everything in action because let's be real, your time is better spending time on reels. So if you're tired of being your own LinkedIn assistant, stick around. I'll show you how to build this step by step. So I'm going to be using Selenium for web automation for scrolling, clicking, and saving posts on LinkedIn. So let's import some of the libraries that we need. So first we're going to import the WebDriver library from Selenium, and then also the by library. And then let's import the action chains. This is for scrolling the page down. Now let's import Selenium WebDriver common.keys, import keys, and then let's import some other libraries like time, OpenAI. If you guys want to use GPT-4, you can use OpenAI, or if you want it to do it completely locally for free, you can use chat-ollama. So if you have OpenAPI key, just put it here. And then we can make an OpenAI client and then initialize it with the API key. And then for the Ollama guys, we can initialize the chat Ollama object with the base URL. It's going to be localhost 11434. And then we have to pass in the model name and the temperature. For the model, I'm going to be using 3.170p. This is, you can run this in most laptops. I mean, 8 billion. 8 billion, it's like 3 or 4 GB, so it's going to run on most laptops in a decent speed. So now let's set up the write the function for setting up the driver. So we're going to have a few options. So the first one, let's initialize the Chrome driver with some arguments. So the first argument is going to be your user profile. So this is so that you don't have to enter any credentials. You just have to type in, just pass in the location to your data. So for me, this is the location for my user data. You can search online if you guys are using either Linux or Mac OS, and then pass. And then the next argument is the profile directory, and this is going to be default. Some of the other arguments are like start maximized, so this makes sure your window is maximized. And also at the end, we can just return the driver. So once that's done, we can start writing the main function. So inside the main function, so let's set up the URL. So it's going to be HTTPS. Sorry about the misspelling. It's HTTPS linkedin.com/feed. And then we can have a try catch statement, and inside the try we're gonna call the function process LinkedIn feed, and we're gonna pass in the driver and the LinkedIn feed. It's gonna be driver equals setup driver. So we're gonna write this process LinkedIn feed function soon, and then again the exception, and finally after everything's done, we're gonna quit the driver. So now we can write the function process LinkedIn feed. So inside the process LinkedIn feed, obviously there's going to be the driver and the LinkedIn feed URL. So the first thing we're going to do is Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is call driver.get LinkedIn feed. So this is going to take a few seconds to load the window up, like the website. So we're going to sleep for 5 seconds. And after that, we can set up the action chain and then pass in the driver. And then we're going to have a hash set for keeping track of all the posts that has been processed, because it sometimes it repeats. So we're going to make sure we only analyze a post once. And I'm only going to do this 100 times, because if you guys are using ChatGPT, it might be expensive. So just make sure it's not running forever. We're going to have a while loop with count less than 100. So as you can see, every post has a data ID with a URN LI activity. So this is what we're going to use to see what components correspond to a post. So for that, we're going to be using the by module and the driver.findElement function. So we can get all the posts on the current window by calling this driver.findElements. And then we're going to be using the by module and then by.xpath. And then after that, we're going to be passing in what CSS we found. So it's all the div. It's the div that contains this data URN and URN : li : activity. So all these posts, we're going to go through this post and extract the text. So how are we going to do that? So we have 4 posts in post, and inside that we can have a try and exception. And then we're going to get the post ID using post.getAttribute data URN. And if the post ID doesn't exist, or if the post has already been processed, we're going to continue. Otherwise, we're going to have to extract. We're going to have to click the more button first. So I'm going to go to DevTools and see what CSS it has. So as you can see, it has a feed shade inline, show more text, and there's a span with the ... more. So I'm going to be using that to click the more button. So I'm going to do more button equals post.findElements, and then again we're going to be using the XPath module, so by.xpath, and then we can pass in the CSS that we want to look for. So I'm going to be saying the inside the button there's a span that contains the text more. More. So we can click that and then wait 2 seconds, and then again we can have the exception. So once we click the more button, we should be able to see the whole text. So now we need to extract the whole text. So if you look at the CSS again for the content of the post, there's a span that contains I think there's a div that contains break. As you can see in the bottom, there's a span that contains CSS break words tvm parent container. So that's what we're going to be using to extract the text. So let's go back to our code. So we need the span. So we're going to say content span equals post.findElement, again by xpath, and then we're going to pass the CSS, which is so I'm going to copy that. So it's a span that contains break words and also contains the class tvm parent container. So once we got the span, we can get the text using content span.text.strip. So after that, so now we have the post. So if there's no post text, we're going to continue. Otherwise, we need to analyze the post. So before analyzing the post, I'm going to add the ID of this post to our hash set so that we don't have to process it again unless it comes again. So now I'm going to write a function to see whether a post is relevant or not for me. So for me, a post is relevant if it's related to hiring, or if it has some useful information about AI or robotics, or if it has some useful tips about hiring, resume, stuff like those. So those are some of the posts that I want to save it, and I don't want to doom scroll on LinkedIn. And sometimes I miss a lot of posts because I'm not scrolling LinkedIn every single day. So I'm going to be writing some criterias. So I'm going to say something like, is this LinkedIn post related to hiring software engineers or junior engineer? I'm junior software engineer. We have to make sure it's not a senior role. So you can tailor this according to your needs. So and then some of the you can add as many criteria as you want, but it depends on the large language model that you're using. If you're using a small language model, it might not be as intelligent as a GPT-4, and it's better to have just one criteria in that case. So I'm also going to say the role should require less than 2 years of experience. Um, then some other things that I'm looking for are startups. So I'm going to say, is this post related to a startup or a YC company raising money? So if a company is raising money, that means they might be hiring. So I want to save those posts as well. Um, I'm also going to ask whether this LinkedIn post contain any useful information that will help me get a job, get an interview, or enhance my knowledge, or help get a referral. That's important as well. I also like to see posts related to LLMs, robotics, AI, AI companies like Meta AI, NVIDIA AI. So I'm gonna ask any new products related released by Meta AI or NVIDIA AI. So those are some of the posts that I wanna save. So I'm gonna say here are the criterias for relevant post. If any of the above criterias are true, respond with yes. If all the statements are false, respond with no. So that's going to be my prompt, and then we can pass in the post text. And then if you guys are using OpenAI, you can use this client.chat.completion, and you can use the GPT-4o dot create. And if you guys want to do this locally for free, we can use chat-ollama. So I'm going to be showing that as well. So we just need the model and the message. So sometimes it's gonna say yes with uppercase. So we just have to check whether yes is in the response. Sometimes it adds full stop and stuff like that. So we just have to see whether yes is in the response. So for people using Ollama, we can just do llm.invoke and then pass in the prompt. And then we can just pass in, and the response is going to be in response.content. Actually, I need to comment the other one. I'll comment the OpenAI one, and I'll keep the Ollama one. So now we have a function that determines whether a post is relevant or not. So now we can just call this function. So if is relevant post text, I'm going to print the post text. And I'm going sleep for 2 seconds just to make sure everything works. Now we need to save it. So the save happens in 2 clicks. So this three dots. And for that, if you look at the CSS, it has a feed shared control menu trigger and a bunch of other CSS. So I'm going to be just using the first CSS. So let's do that. So it's going to be the drop down button. So I'm going to find that element using the by.xpath and then pass in that CSS that we just found. So it's going to be the button that contains the CSS that we found, and then we're going to click it. So drop down button dot click. So it takes 1 or 2 seconds. So make sure there's a sleep after you click the drop down button, and then we need to click the save button. So if you, it's really hard to find the CSS because it goes away instantly. So what I did was I just screen record and then I just posted at the exact time I clicked at the CSS, and then I found that a class that I was looking for. So I'm gonna do that on the side. So I found the CSS, so I'm gonna be just doing that. So I'm gonna do the save button equals post.find element by xpath, and then I'll copy the CSS that I found. So this is what I found. It's a list tag that contains the CSS. So after that, we can click the save button as well, and then make sure you sleep for 2 seconds after every click. So now we have that. After that, again, we can have a exception for the first try. So we have processed all the posts currently in the window. So after that, we need to scroll down the page. So for that, we'll be using the action. So action.send keys, and then keys.pagedown.perform. And make sure I'm gonna do this twice because it doesn't scroll that much for just one. So I'm gonna be using twice, and now we can increase the scroll count. So I'm gonna be doing that here. So after everything is done, we can just return. So now that we have a decent program running, so for people using OpenAI, I'm going to be showing how you can get the API keys. So you can go to platform.openai.com. You can sign in. You can go to the settings, and you should be able to. I don't know why it's not loading. Let's see. Yeah, make sure you install OpenAI using the pip install OpenAI. And you also need to install Langchain-ollama if you guys don't have it. So this is how you go to API keys and create a new secret key, and you can copy that. And for people using the Ollama, you can go to ollama.com and download the version you're using, Windows, Linux, Mac OS. And once you have everything, you can just go to a command terminal, and then you can pull the model that you want. So Ollama pull Llama 3.1 70 billion. 70 billion is really heavy, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm going to be pulling the smaller 8 billion model. So 3.18 billion. So that's like 4.9 GB, and it runs decently on most laptops. And then you can, just to make sure Ollama is running, make sure you do Ollama run Llama 3.18b. And this is going to take a few seconds. And if you can see this message means it's working. As you can see, the large language model is working with Ollama completely locally. So that means we can use the chat Ollama client. So now you can go to the terminal and then run this Python file. So make sure you install OpenAI and also the Langchain-ollama and also Selenium as well if you guys don't have it. So after that, you can just run the function. So I'm going to be closing all the window. Make sure you don't have Chrome open, because if it's already open, it's gonna crash. So just run python3 bot.py. So it's gonna open Google Chrome, and it's gonna say it's being controlled by an automated software. So I'm gonna be adjusting the window just to make sure. So I get a error. So let's see what it is. So it's saying it cannot find the more button. I'm not sure why. I might just remove it because it's able to find the text without clicking the more button. So I don't think I need to click the more button. So we will see how that goes. So I'm going to be removing this more button click. So let's see how that goes. Before that, I just want to make sure it's going through these relevant function and everything. So I'm going to be printing the post text, just the first 100 characters, just to make sure it work. And if it's relevant, I'm going to say it's relevant, relevant post. I want to make sure it's right. So I'm going to print yeah, so I'm going to print the response as well. So let's see, run the program again. DeepSeek. Looks like it's this post. Okay. So let's see if it says yes or no. Looks like it said no. Oh, it also added some explanation. It says post is not related to hiring. So I don't want it to say any explanation. I just want it to say yes or no. So that's a problem because our algorithm just looks for yes. Um, and ideally, I want it to be a smaller case yes, but it doesn't matter. I can just change it to lowercase. So I'm gonna add a few, change a few prompts. I'm gonna say here are the 6 criterias, and then I'm gonna number them. And I'm gonna say respond only with yes or no, with no explanation. So this makes sure it only responds with either yes or no. Remove all the white spaces and convert the response to lowercase. So let's do it again. So I'm gonna change. I think I'm gonna split this because the local models are not that smart. So I'm gonna split this into different functions. So I'm gonna keep it very specific. So one of them is gonna be hiring. One of them is gonna be like AI related, and one of them is gonna be like a good helpful content. and I'm gonna have three different agents. It's gonna basically act like agents. So I'm gonna remove all the other criterias just to make it easier for the small language models to analyze the post. So this just looks if it's related to hiring. So if it's a junior software engineer role, full stack engineer, AI, robotics. Role should require 2 years of experience. If it's a YC company, that's pretty much it for hiring. Everything else remains same. And then I'm gonna make a copy of this. And this one is just gonna look for anything useful. So does this contain any useful information to help me get a job, or if it's AI related? I'm gonna remove the AI related stuff. So this one's only gonna look whether it's like useful to get a job or an interview or referral. Actually, this one is just gonna look for the AI content. I'm gonna make a different one for the useful general stuff. So does this LinkedIn post contain useful information about large language model, robotics, AI, or anything that enhances my knowledge or skill sets? Or if the post is about some research projects by the Meta AI or NVIDIA AI company. Respond with a yes or no. No explanation is needed. And I'm gonna add, if any of the criteria is true, then say yes. If all this otherwise, say no. And then let's make one more agent. Before that, we can try this out. I'm gonna try this if it makes any better. Okay, looks like it extracted the text of the Anthropic recruiter. It said no, no. Looks like everything is still no. Okay, it did find something, but we got an error, so it wasn't able to save it. So this time it's not able to click. Yeah, it's not able to click the drop down button because I think it's because it's out of view. If it's out of view, sometimes it's not able to click. So we'll need to fix that. Looks like we got, oh, looks like we got, it saved this one. As you can see, it did save one post because it was in view. That's why it saved. Is helpful. And I'm gonna ask, does this LinkedIn post contain useful information about resumes or interviews or other things that will help me get a job or enhances my chances of getting an interview or something like that? Does this post contain any useful information about any tips for resume, job hunt, interviews, or side projects? Again, it's going to be yes or no. So we're going to say if any of the statements are true, respond with yes. If all the statements are false, respond with no. Respond with only yes or no. No explanation is needed. So now we have three agents working in parallel. And it's really specific so that it's a little bit more accurate. So we're going to add that as well. So E is helpful, and then we're going to pass the post text. Yeah, so if it's hiring, if it's good content, or if it's helpful, it's going to save the post. That's our goal. Okay, looks like we got a relevant post, but again, we got an error. It did click the drop down button, but it wasn't able to save the post. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We have another relevant post, but again, we got the error. It wasn't able to save it. So I'm pretty sure it's because it's out of view. It's not visible to the user, so it's not able to click it. So I'm gonna ask a chat GPT if it can fix it. So I'm gonna ask how to make sure the content I'm trying to click, or the post I'm trying to extract on the LinkedIn is visible on the screen. Oh yeah, if you guys are using the same window, it's not gonna work because it's a bot. So open up a new Chrome window, close the program, restart Chrome. I'm gonna ask the same question again. Okay, looks like we're gonna have to scroll, find the element using the ID, and then we have to scroll into the view. So I'm gonna be using that. So it does have a different ID called Ember something. So let's go to LinkedIn and check whether we have this or not. Oh yeah, there is an ID called Ember39. So I feel like that's unique for every single post. Yeah, there's an Ember 39, there's an Ember 49, Ember 71. So looks like that's some kind of ID for the post. So let's do that. So let's extract the Ember ID. So after we find the post, we're gonna get the Ember ID as well. After we get the Ember ID, we can scroll into the view using this function. We can call driver.execute script, scroll into the view, block center, and then this is going to be the Ember ID. So we get the post element and then we scroll that post element into the view. So let's see if this makes any better. Make sure there's like sleep after every click, because sometimes click takes time, and you have to make sure the element we're trying to click is visible and it exists on the browser. So again, we're getting some no's. We have 3 agents working, so looks like we have a relevant. As you can see, yay, it did save. As you can see, it's working. It did save this post. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have another relevant post. Looks like it's clicking again. It's saved. We have 2 posts saved without any errors. Looks like it's working pretty well. We have no. We have a bunch of new nodes. It's clicking the save. It did save. We have 3 successful saves. Looks like it's working. It's scrolling into the window, so that was the problem. It wasn't visible, so that's why it wasn't able to click the drop down button. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and please subscribe if you guys haven't. Make sure you support the channel by liking and comment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Peace.